Hey guys, welcome back to G-Star Vault. I've decided to come outside today, outside of the cabin, because the weather has been glorious in the UK in the last couple of weeks. So wherever you are in the world, I hope you've had an equally nice start to summer and been able to enjoy the sun. It's been a while since I've joined you guys for under the banner of G-Star Vault, and I'm going to explain that in just a moment, but I have been still busy working on content. Unfortunately, I've had some personal stuff going on with my other half being very unwell and in hospital for a few weeks, but hopefully things are starting to normalize a little bit. But as I said, I've still been working on content to share with you guys. Now, the big thing that hopefully you've seen, or if you haven't seen, I'm going to tell you about it now. I've launched my own YouTube channel called The Underground Paradox. I'm still, as I've said many times, going to be working on the content for the Vault. But The Underground Paradox is very different. 90% of it is going to be on location and doing investigations. So I'm really happy to share with you guys that I've launched that channel with a 3-part series where I went and traveled to North Yorkshire in the UK to spend some time with Ben, my good friend from 401 Files, and investigating in his neck of the woods. Part 1 is already available on the channel for you guys to watch. I'll put a link in the description. And I'm just currently editing part 2 of the 3-part series. So I've been working on that. Also, a couple of weeks ago, I sat down with Andy McGrath, who's the author from the Beasts of Britain series, also has his own podcast and YouTube channel called Beastly Theories. Sat down with him, caught up with him and did a bit of an interview, and again, that's already out there for you guys to view, and again, I'll put a link in the description. I want to use this opportunity to say a big thank you to whoever out there has re-emerged or relit the focus on the George Adamski story times. The story times here on the channel Vault are doing really, really well. I worked on one recently that I uploaded called Billy Muir, the story of Billy Muir, and that's doing equally really nicely well. So again, thank you so much for the support. And while I'm on that subject, if you haven't done so already, please subscribe to our awesome channel, The Vault, and please like this video. Okay, so that gives you a bit of a background of what I've been working on. Just as a sort of side mention as well, some of you may or may not know, but I love to compose and produce my own music under the name The Space King. I've also been working on an EP that I'm hoping to launch later this year, or share later this year, and I'm already been sharing some sneak peeks of some of the tracks on that on social media. So if you're interested, give me a shout in the comments and I will share. So that kind of brings you guys up to speed with what I've been doing and why I've been absent. But let's get into this G-Star Vault, right? So first of all, you guys, we've talked about it a lot on this channel, will be aware of, in 2020, all the footage that was officially shared by the Pentagon in the US, and all the news about the committees and the groups that they were creating in the US government to investigate UAPs, and this statement that they're going to be a lot more transparent and make a lot more evidence declassified. And we started off with the FLIR, the Tic Tac and the gimbal footage, and you guys will be hopefully familiar with that, where we've discussed that and shared that plenty of times on this channel. But I don't know if you were aware of the recent footage that's been declassified from the USS Omaha. It was shared about a month ago. So what we're going to do is we're going to watch that footage right now, and then we'll come back and we'll discuss it. I'll give you my thoughts on it, and this is where you guys, I really want to get your thoughts on it, so make sure that you use your power in the comments to tell me what you're thinking. That would be awesome. But let's just go and watch that video right now.
Took off, booking it.
Break Omaha, Pickney Kid, Rocco Peralta, passive ability to launch helo ASAP.
Splashing and bearing rain.
Sure. You got 2 winds, 3 knots.
Keep going, bro. Let's go down.
You're making 10s, we could probably bring that 35 relative.
Windy as fuck up, huh?
Sir.
Yeah, I bring it down.
got a lot of white water out there, some 6-foot swells.
Whoa, it's getting close.
Yeah, we have 31 knots sustained wind, topside, gust of 40.
Whoa, splashed. Mark bearing and range.
Hey, so welcome back. Hope you enjoyed that video. Before we get into the discussion, something you may not be aware of, but at the time that was being shot by the military crew outside, and it was shot on night vision, there was also a crew inside the ship filming the radar, and on the radar they picked up not one object, as we saw in the original footage, but 14. Check it out.
If you can write a general lat long where we're at, and then the number of contacts you got, get the course and speed leaders off them. You know what I mean? And relative position to us, like bearings, might be helpful too. Eyes up.
Eyes down.
System 2, maintain track as best you can.
Track 781 just sped up to 46 knots, 50 knots, closing in. Oh, actually 38 knots. Holy shit, going fast.
That one's pretty much perfectly 000 relative, right?
Yeah.
263 at 3 miles, 55 knots speed.
But now that we've watched both pieces of footage, we can start to break it down and discuss. And now the first thing that I want to discuss that is of significant interest to me is especially about this new piece of footage and the 3 pieces of footage that were shared in 2020, the FLIR, the gimbal, the Tic Tac. All of these 4 pieces of footage happen either around a close vicinity to the ocean or on the ocean. So they're either shot by military personnel on ships or in the aircraft, but over the oceans. In the Tic Tac, we saw the craft, the UAP, close to the water. We see the same thing on this UAP, and also we hear the audio of the guys talking about how it breaches the water and goes underneath the water. Now, not so much on the Pentagon release footage, but certainly on some footage that's been shared by members of the public out there that's very similar to these pieces of footage. We see these UAPs, these craft, these objects going into water and out of water almost like the physics aren't normal. So what I mean by that is they don't breach the water. We don't see a splash. They seem to operate in the water the same as they do in the air. So that's really interesting and feeds into a lot of things that we've heard from people like Bob Lazar in the past about how anti-gravity changes the ability of these craft and breaches what we know as physics of nature. So that's really, really interesting, and I want to get your guys' comments on what you think about that and the connection to the oceans. It's got a big interest of mine, and there's a lot of people that I talk to in the community of ufology, like Ben, who we all agree that the oceans obviously play some part and some connection to ufology. When you think about it, as a species, we've only mapped and explored 20% of our oceans. Our oceans are huge. There's more ocean on this planet than there is land. So if you think that land masses are big, then think about trying to explore all of the oceans. And it's very then logical or possible that there are a species, whether you believe that they're from somewhere else or they've always been here, that they could exist in the oceans and be quite cleverly undiscovered because there's so much area that we haven't explored and we can't access and get to, and maybe they can. So that's the first point of interest for me on this footage. Now, the other thing that I wanted to discuss, and it's really breaking it down to the most basic question. I've discussed it before on this channel and I want to bring it up again. Why have we all of a sudden seen this transparency from governments and military around the world to share this evidence and share their findings of these UAPs? What are they hoping to achieve by sharing it with the members of public? As members of the public, what purpose does it serve for us to see and know about this evidence, and what can we do with it? That is the question you have to ask yourself, because if you're like me, I don't fully buy into it. There's a lot of reasons why I don't buy into it. first and foremost, basically, if you go through the history of ufology, if they want to have transparency, they need to have 100% transparency. So why are documents from Roswell 1947, from Rendlesham in the 80s here in the UK, from other incidents that are key around the world, why are they still classified? Now, there's a lot of skeptics and also military personnel out there that might say, well, the reason is because, you know, although we want transparency, we still have to protect the identity of military personnel or military locations. However, if you know anything about declassified documents, like I do, and I've read plenty of them, basically when a document gets declassified, there's still a lot of it that is blacked out. And that blacked out is exactly what I've just said. They will still protect the names and individuals and military personnel. We're in a generation where data protection is the first and foremost thing on a lot of people's minds. So they blank out that information and locations. So with declassified documents, they've already done that. So if they use that as an excuse as why they're not declassifying certain other documents, that doesn't seem to add up to me. And also when you take a lot of the incidents that happened in the past, what the governments or these groups or committees are saying right now is that we don't know what these things are. We know they're not Chinese, we know they're not Russian, we know that they're not ours. So we're concerned for our air security and our national security what these things are. Well, that would then unravel anything that we've seen in the history of ufology that lays claim that they've already had interaction with these craft, reclaimed, crashed craft, all of that, throw that out of the window. And I just don't think, after all the evidence and some of the individuals that I've seen speaking about some of these key incidents, that can be easily done. But again, you keep coming back full circle to why this transparency, what are they aiming to achieve from it? And again, it's not 100% transparency. There's just something that doesn't sit right to me, and it feels more like a smoke screen. And by that I mean you guys have probably heard the expression smoking gun before, and a smoke screen is something totally opposite. And again, in the world of ufology, I'm a big believer in smoke screens. I think that Area 51, for example, is a smoke screen. And what I mean by that is that it's a bit like a magician. Magicians make you look at this hand while this hand is doing something else and you don't see it. And you know, a lot of eyes for a lot of decades now have been on Area 51. That's supposed to be a secret base that nobody is supposed to know about, that they have possibly alien craft or aliens themselves in this destination and they're experimenting or working on it. Well, if that's so secret, why does everybody in the world know about it? Why is it in Hollywood, etc.? I think it's just to keep our eyes on that, while the main activity is happening elsewhere where we don't have our eyes. And I think the same is happening today. There's a lot of conspiracy theorists that would start bringing up about why this transparency, why the original groups and committees from the Pentagon started formulating and releasing evidence slap bang in the middle of a global pandemic. And a lot of people believe that that's because our eyes and our focus was on what other things are happening in the world, and therefore the impact of this information was subdued. And it was really, because when you think about it, although it created quite a buzz on social media and in certain platforms, it certainly wasn't on the first story on the 6 o'clock news or on the front of newspapers. But again, time always tells a different story, and one of the things that I feel that doesn't buy into that conspiracy theory of why this was all happening in the pandemic is the fact that they're still releasing footage like this USS Omaha right now, and for the best part the globe is over the pandemic. There's still residual effects, but for the best part life has returned back to normal, so they're still releasing this information now. But again, I've talked a lot on this channel about the concept that it may just be climatizing us to information that's going to come past. So they're giving us little bits of information that kind of makes it more acceptable across the society and across people in general that we're accepting that there is possibly something going on or something unexplained that we don't fully understand. So when they do decide to finally reveal everything, we're not all so much kind of like, oh my god, and panicked and causing chaos across the globe. But again, that's just another conspiracy theory. But this is where I want your guys' thoughts, I want your guys' ideas, and let me know what you think. Thank you for joining me for this G-Star Vault. Hopefully I'm back on track now, but the next upload I will be doing surely will have to be a story time. Anyway, look after yourselves, keep yourselves safe, and enjoy this glorious weather, and have a great summer. Bye bye now.